Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Jackrabbit Illustrated. As always, we are brought to you by the Kubota dealers of South Dakota with 10 locations across this great state. There's always a place to get orange equipment near you with parts, sales, and service. Head into a Kubota dealer today. They've got all the equipment you may need for your home, acreage, or ranch, side-by-sides, tractors, UTVs, the works. They've got it. I know Chad and Matt love their BX Series tractors. Everyone I know who has one loves them. They're fantastic pieces of machinery. Thank you so much to Kubota Dealers of South Dakota for being our title sponsor at Jackrabbit Illustrated. If you are catching us live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter for Jackrabbit Illustrated or the FFN YouTube, thanks for joining us and making us part of your evening here. Try to be a bit of a break from all the madness of today that I'm sure you can't get away from. So I'm not even going to say the E word. We're just going to stick with Jackrabbit stuff here. Of course, the B team is brought to you by Cubby's Sports Bar Grill. Culver's. Sorry. I've got a sheet in front of me that I try to keep this straight with, and I still can't do it. It's Culver's. We're brought to you by Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. They are our show sponsor of the B team. Culver's of Brookings and Watertown, great place to get Scoopy tokens to pay off bets, or if that's too difficult, then you just get gift cards and pay them off that way. A better brand of beef makes a butter burger better. They've got phenomenal custard. Of course, they've got the fries with that just sweet gold cheese sauce. I mean, blue and yellow. There's not any better color combination of the blue Culver's and the yellow of the cheese sauce. Let me tell you what, they're the place to go. Culver's of Brookings Watertown. Stop in and satisfy your hunger today. So, anyways, we are back. How's it going, fellas? Your day's going all right. Weekend's all right. Tailgate was good. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain. Everything's good here.
Yeah, I was working out in the shop a little bit before this. Came in, talked to the wife, and she was talking about her Kubota. And I accidentally had heard my Sharona and said to her, we should call it my Kubota to the tune of my Sharona. And now she says every time she drives it, she's going to sing my Kubota. So, yeah, that happened today.
That's actually a good idea for John.
My Kubota.
He needs to make a local Kubota commercial with him singing that song.
It would just be so awesome. It'd be
me riding mine wearing just the cowboy hat.
There you go.
No, shirtless,
swimsuit,
bibs, cowboy hat.
Yes, shirtless bibs. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Big Kubota flag. That'd be incredible.
Sorry.
Cody asked what time the Murray, Kentucky mayor is coming on. I was thinking for those that didn't watch Scare Money Don't Make Money last week, we had the mayor of Vermilion on randomly. Somebody
we were going to talk about elections, guys.
Somebody alerted him that we were talking about him, and he showed up in our comments.
We still haven't figured out who the mole was, have we?
We haven't found the rat.
No, we don't know who the rat is. It was a lot of fun, though. You? I was just thinking, like, maybe we should just see how far our reach is. Just like start talking about like the mayor of Murray, Kentucky, and see if he ends up on the show.
Just make up scandalous things that different mayors have said and see if they jump on or not. Let's just spread a bunch of slander. See if we can get mayors.
No. So Seth said before we talk about the football game, Seth said, "How about our basketball teams last night? That was fun."
Yes.
What a fun night of Jackrabbit basketball. The men having a huge win against McNeese State. That was a very, very good team. They were just outside the top 25, projected to be a really, really good team this year. Huge win at the Pentagon. And then the women go down to Rice. They were down by 13, I think, in the fourth quarter, or 14 maybe, and ended up coming back and winning that one. Really, really big out-of-conference wins for both basketball teams. So that was very cool to see.
That Field of 68 event was really cool, especially to have it in Sioux Falls. That was pretty cool. It was really funny listening to the commentator just absolutely baffled that we won that game.
Yeah, the after show, he was dejected. He could not believe that McNeese State lost to South Dakota State. He was 100% sure McNeese is going to walk away with that game.
Yeah, he thought it was going to be a blowout.
It was interesting that they broadcast just on YouTube. That was a new thing, even though it looked very ESPN-esque, ESPN Plus-esque. The audio was a little bit, but that was really cool.
I don't know about Field of 68. I think is a new thing that is starting up, where they're kind of their own thing. It seemed like.
Yes,
they're
like
not
they have
really
their own basketball podcasts and everything, and this is part of it.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty cool.
Sounds like Jeff Goodman made it sound like they'll be back next year. So hopefully the Jacks are able to be a part of that. Really cool thing to be getting a solid non-con game right out the gate with another solid mid-major. So that was really cool. And the women's team, I was kind of watching the score as I'm watching the men's game and everything wraps up, and then third quarter hits and they're down 13. So I'm like, well, I don't know. Game went pretty well when I turned on the men's game, so let's turn on the women's game. Maybe I got the rabbit's foot. I don't know. And I turned it on, and they came back from 13 down the fourth quarter to win at Rice with the defending AAC champs. So they're AAC. Are they in the AAC or the ACC? In the American. Yeah, they're in the American. I remember seeing American, but that was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing about both teams is just the young talent that's shining already. The first game of the season, Vasika for the women, and then Seiler and Larson and Hadnot, and just so many young players are shining for both teams. And so it's really, really cool to see. You can tell the recruiting has been really good, and they're coming out to play. That's for sure.
And shout out to Glenda for showing up joining in from Colorado. That's pretty fun. We always love have people from all over the country joining in.
Yeah, that's a new name. First time watcher, maybe.
Yeah, first time commenter at least. So thanks for jumping in on the conversation. We always love the comments. But I suppose we should probably talk about the football game a little bit. It went how you wanted it to.
100%. I mean, 600 yards of offense, and only 6 points on defense. What more do you ask for? You wanted the passing offense to get some momentum and look good. I feel like they did that. You saw, Gronowski go 9-16. Efficient, and you saw Lofton Ogroski have a really good game, which was good to see after Graham Goring went down. It'll be interesting to see how long he's out. You saw Davin Stoffel had a good game. Griffin Wilde got some catches. So yeah, overall really good on the passing game. The rushing offense, 353 yards of rushing. Angel Johnson broke off the big 67-yarder. Amar looked good. Chase Mason got some runs. Maxwell Woods got in there and got some runs. From the offensive standpoint, I don't know that you could have asked for much more.
Yeah, it went the flyover. I know it's been talked and touched on a bunch, but that was sick. Flyover was super cool. Love the moment for Matt Anderson. That was awesome as well. The tailgate was a little dead, tailgating compared to normal, which it's Murray State, not a big name game, not a rivalry game, a shock.
It was weird how dead the tailgating was, and then how full the stadium still got.
Right,
because it felt like the tailgating of like almost playoff games where there's like only 7,000-8,000 people in the stands. But I think I didn't see the attendance number. I guess I'm not sure.
Was it 16 something? I didn't see it either.
It was 16,300 and some or something. And I think that was
376. Yeah,
adversely affected by the students student turnout. Part of it being a 3-day weekend and stuff. Because you got to remember the student section is a healthy chunk of the attendance of the stadium, and when that's half full compared to full, I mean that swings a game of attendance from 12,000 to 18,000. Well, that's a bit of a stretch, right? 12,000, 16,000. There's they could pack like 4,000 kids in there. So that makes a huge difference on attendance, but because the crowd itself, when I was looking around, I thought it looked more like a 17-ish crowd just from our vantage point. It's always hard to tell on the east side when the west side's usually full, but not terrible. We need to get over, I think, 16,200 to beat last year's attendance average. So gotta get those numbers up for Southern Illinois. Hopefully the student section shows out for that. Yeah, but on this game, I mean, it went how you wanted it to. Like you said, it was everything. You got the starters out at the end of the first half, which kind of surprised me a little bit because it feels like a lot of the times we go, all right, Chase is going to start the second half, right? Then Mark comes out and has like 2 more drives. It always feels like it goes that way. It did not this time, so that was good to see. We got to see Chase run the offense, which was fun. And see a bunch of young guys, get some game action, which is invaluable. I feel bad for Murray State. Like you could hear in their coach's voice, just in the interviews leading up to the game, where they're like talking about the competition and what's it like, and what do you got to do to get better. And he was kind of like, we gotta be bigger and faster.
We have to be a completely different team altogether.
We have to.
It's not wrong.
It's it just, you could hear in his voice, just like we don't have the horses right now. We just don't. And if you look at their injury report, it's almost concerning. It almost is, leading into the game when you have 40 dudes listed on the injury report. Obviously, it doesn't mean there's 40 not playing, but it's almost concerning to the point of like, man, that's what your roster would look like playing up in an FBS conference. So it just gives the feel that I mean, you're a bad Ohio Valley Conference team, and then you move into the Missouri Valley. It's obviously not going to go well. But there was a lot of promise there. They killed themselves on some drives where they could have had points. They were reasonably successful. I mean, they were more successful than our offense was against NDSU. We weren't in the red zone at all, and they got in there 4 times, against NDSU. So I think the building blocks for them are there to at least try to eventually, I'm not saying next year, but they might be able to get up to mid-tier valley if they keep plugging away, but they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed by their creativity on offense. Some of the formations they put out there and some of the plays they ran out of those formations definitely tricked us a little bit at the start. They obviously, they did not have the horses to, have sustained success like you talked about. But I think, if it's going to be a tough goal for them. I think they're in probably a tough recruiting area. It's going to be tough to get the type of players they need to get to compete in the Missouri Valley. But I don't know. I hope they can, because it's not going to be fun for them if they continue this way. Cody said with the number of transfers they have, it's hard to be good, but if they can keep the coach around, I think they can become a competitive team. Yeah, I mean, he seems like a good coach. Their kicker, Garrett Meyer, said the kicker is a stud. He was the highlight of their team. That kid could boot the ball. He was
got a cannon.
I mean, those are 55-yarders, and I mean, he made them look like they were 35-yarders. It was.
Yeah. If you paid attention, the ball landed on the back of the concrete, like right at the front of the Stig Center, where that overhang is. It landed at the front of that or the field side. So he had more distance for sure on those. He was up a ways too from our vantage, right, Brennan?
Yeah, that was good by a lot. That was you didn't look at that one and go, oh, it might be short. No, that was definitely of the distance by 1.5 miles. It was funny, but I think it was after Hunter's miss that guy made his, and it felt like we watched Hunter kick a lot of extra points down by us. It felt like he was kicking to prove a point after that. Normally he just he kicks them through and they're plenty high, but he was launching them babies. After he saw that guy do that, he was really getting into him compared to normal. It felt like to me watching that. But yeah, we do have to get more consistent in the kicking game. That needs to get buttoned up, whether it's snap and hold or putting it through the upright, whatever we got to do to get it through the uprights. We got to do that. So
yeah, it's they got to clean it up. The previous game, I think it was a previous game, there was an issue with a snap and a hold, and then I didn't get a chance to watch this one back. Did you guys? The short?
No,
kick,
I did not.
The miss.
I missed.
I don't know.
The missed kick. Yeah,
I don't know if it was a snap and hold issue again.
Didn't look like it.
But or just a focus issue. I'm not sure, but yeah, got to be cleaner. We're gonna have tight games either down the stretch here in the playoffs, and those kicks are gonna matter. And if you get in the position to score points, you got to convert on that. So that's all we'll say about that.
Yeah.
Brian, we are not putting that comment up.
No,
there will be no.
We are the bastion of against that people having to deal with that. So that's not happening tonight.
I mean, I could show my graphic right now. It's a good time to
sure
to transition.
Yeah, let's give everybody a heart
into
attack.
The graphic.
The red and blue state.
Kind of what he's talking about, but this is the pop soda Coke graphic.
This is as political as it's going to get tonight.
Yep. There you go. You got, if that's what you're hankering for, there's your red and blue map, but it's for pop and soda. Since we're transitioning and
we will have some
speak for yourself.
Pop.
We will have some fun poll questions at some point tonight. You guys just let me know when you want to pull that up.
Ben's pretty excited. How about after I do the read for Cubby's Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings, South Dakota, the greatest sports car, Jesus.
Sports car.
Bar.
It's your Jealous moment.
It's my Jealous moment. Jealous Clark Sheen.
We all
happy birthday, Jealous, by the way.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jealous.
Happy birthday to Jealous.
As long as Jealous doesn't join Jesus.
I don't think we ever pulled that joke out on the show before.
We may not have.
It was birthed from the show. Anyways, Cubby Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings, South Dakota. The best sports bar in the Dakotas, if you ask me. And yes, I have lived in Fargo and been to their sports bars. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill has all your Jackrabbit games. If you are hoping to catch an away game, not able to get the ticket to a home game, get down to Cubby Sports Bar and Grill. They are the place to be for Jackrabbits action. They've got tons of beer on tap. They've got burgers, brews, Chislick, you name it. They've got it. They are the place to be. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill in Brookings, South Dakota. We are very thrilled to have them be one of our sponsors. It was something of a seminal moment for us when they jumped on board and wanted to be. There's my $5 word of the day, by the way. For them
got
to
my attention.
Jump on board as one of our sponsors. Yeah, you're welcome. Sometimes I say stuff that sounds smart. It doesn't have to be smart, just has to sound like it. So thank you, Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, sir, supporting the pod. Or it sounds like other things, which is even more fun. Oh, you pervert. Glenda just like 15, 20 comments up said we should be considered educational. I don't. You're making me blush, Glenda.
She came and talked to me at tailgate. It was great. She was telling me all the things. Her husband was standing there telling me the things she learned from her podcast. She was really fun to talk to. They made the trek. So thanks for coming over and saying hi, Glenda. Sorry I didn't remember your first and last name. I had a lot of things going on at the moment. I definitely remember talking to you, though.
Chad's just a man of the people.
I give the people what they want. Get them going.
Get the people going.
That's right.
He's provocative.
Kind of.
No one knows what he means. It's like Chad's
normally
text. No one knows what they mean.
If only people knew how bad all of my texts were, then that joke would land much better. I'm pretty sure that once a week Ben gets just completely frustrated and completely doesn't read anything I write. So maybe it's more often than that.
I read it all.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
All right. Well, we're gonna try something new tonight. If you want,
That's from Colorado.
if you want to play, you have to comment your answers. So let me pull up. Since it's election night, in the spirit, we're not talking any politics, but I figured we have some polls. We'll try this out, see how it goes. So if it's terrible, just bear with us here.
Just so long as
Ben
there's
likes
not too much
showing off
talk
his
about
polls.
the polls.
Here we go. We're
Everyone look at Ben's poll.
Almost
Everyone
jinxed
look
on
at
that,
Ben's
didn't
poll.
we?
Present, share screen, and we are
Oh my God.
live.
Jesus.
Look
There
at
it-
that.
hooray.
Let's
Genius
go.
over here.
All right, we're only going to show North
All right.
America.
So
there.
this is going to be a quiz. How many countries do
So-
you know?
No. Where are you watching
Ben's
from?
trying to take my job and get me off this show.
Comment.
What is you see how smooth we give Chad a hard time. You can see how smooth this is going.
Hey, it's going really well. Comment where you're watching from, and it'll populate on the map. And do it fairly quickly because we can't wait too long.
Oh, there we go. We got people popping up there. There's Glenn.
66 in Colorado.
Winthrop.
Is that what it says?
74. This might not be super accurate.
I don't.
Maybe we got it. But sometimes that comes from where your server is. Oh no, it's doing it from the comments, isn't it? Never mind.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Urbandale, Iowa.
Let's zoom in here. What do we got here?
Oh, there
I
we
don't know
go.
why there's 74. Glenda's like just pinging
she's
the
a force of
servers.
nature.
That's
apparently.
how important she is. Don't you? How dare you? Glenda is an important lady.
This is actually pretty cool. We got.
It is pretty cool.
Who's down here? We got a little Kentucky action. Who's in Kentucky? Cody Schilling's from Kentucky. Okay. See, how fun is this?
This is cool.
Deb's on.
This is great
Love
for
that.
when people are on the. You're going to want to watch this on YouTube if you're listening on podcast form
on.
because what Ben is doing, I'm going to comment. I'm going to color commentate what Ben's doing.
That'd be great.
He is. Oh, he's gone to Illinois with the mouse. Now he's gone to Michigan to pull up.
Pat Whitty
and
lives
9
in
more.
Michigan.
Pat Whitty.
I like
There we
that
go.
Mark Braun's out in Millette because that's home of the Old West barbecue sauce just south of Aberdeen. That's a good place.
Oh.
That'd be
The
that
more you
pink
know.
dot there south of Aberdeen.
God.
Hey, we got one in North Dakota. Mercer,
Really?
North Dakota.
Ooh.
I know a lot
Wow.
of North Dakota. I have not been to Mercer.
Yeah, well, that's where Thompson's at today, I would imagine then. Unless it's
I
Canada.
reckon.
Canuckistan.
Canadistan.
You're welcome.
Avon.
Canuckistan.
It's by my old
North
Scotland
Dakota.
stomping grounds.
It's by Scotland.
So that's how it works. That's pretty
Grand
neat.
Forks.
All
There
right.
we go. We got someone that's watching up and
So
fighting.
we're
Hey,
making
we
this
got
a
a
2-hour show,
Metro
right?
UND
with these,
fan.
with these.
Hey, just relax.
Not necessarily
and enjoy
UND
it for what it
fan.
is.
Yeah,
Texas.
he doesn't
Wait,
have to be.
Mexico?
Mexico.
Okay.
We got 9 people.
Hey,
in
that's
Mexico.
probably
All right.
Tim. Tim's down to Mexico. Potentially.
Glenda,
Colorado,
are
Mexico.
you using a VPN, Glenda?
Glenda's just all over the map.
She's just pounding in. She's pounding in different things. Just
All right.
Glenda's our
that
new
pop
best
her
listener. All right. It's
Next
okay.
question.
Jim didn't even answer.
In the spirit of Chad's map, do you call it pop soda or Coke? And I think you have to vote 1, 2, or 3. Don't type pop soda or Coke because I don't know. I don't think that'll work. Type in 1. I guess it does work.
Yeah. No.
I think it works either way. If you type in the number or the I think the number works better though.
Look at it
I mean,
go.
It's
Isn't
going to
this
be
fun?
pop because we're upper Midwest, right? Like for the most part. our
I would
listeners-
think, that Pop should win this one, but it
What
is
do we
pretty
call it?
biased.
Soda pop.
We call
Like,
this
some people call
segment
it soda
watching
pop.
graphs with the B team.
Yeah, well, there's other people sitting around watching these numbers
watching
move
bar
tonight
graphs.
too, so it's kind of similar. Only
Corey
less
Corey put in bush light.
Corey,
Sorry, that's
water's
not
not an
an answer.
option.
light.
Water's not an option on here.
Yeah, I
My
didn't see water.
my own son's trying to sabotage. He's putting 78, 47. That's not one of the choices.
Doesn't help the poll.
He also said China.
He did say China, didn't he?
Did he really? Good Lord. All right.
You heard him laughing in the
Next, we're
background.
gonna have grass growing
Hey,
with the B
okay.
team.
This gets more interesting, Chris. Here.
Here
What
comes.
is your favorite JI
what?
podcast?
You're doing
Oh, this
One,
is
two,
rough.
three, or
Whoa.
four. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Whoa. You know, Matt, I wanna go
I'm
on
not gonna
record.
put up
This was
Jesse's
not
comment.
my
I
idea.
really want to know. It's funny, Jesse. Well played.
What is your favorite JI podcast? Brian says Late Night with Borg. All right.
Yeah. Good.
All
I'm glad
the
I
people
stay up
love
for a
Scare Money,
reason,
Don't
at
Make
least.
Money.
I think there's some recency bias based on the last podcast there.
You're only as good as your
recently
last
you
show.
guys have been having the most fun.
You're only as good as your last show.
This is brutal for the A team, by the way.
I feel bad for him. The numbers don't bear this out, I don't think, but this is fun.
No, the listening
This is-
numbers count.
It's
Hey,
crazy. You ask
this
on
is
a B
B-Team
Team
Mafia is
podcast
what's
to the
happening
B
right
Team
now.
Mafia,
We
and the
appreciate
B Team
you,
Mafia
B-Team Mafia.
just you
Thanks for
guys are the
representing.
best. B Team Mafia represent. Now find that dirty rat who turned us into the Vermilion mayor.
Hey, Glenn
He's
is
gonna
not
be
the only
sleeping
one
with
that
the
likes
fishes.
me the best, by the way.
Alex has
Does
voted
happen.
3 times for the show he's on.
He keeps voting. He's trying. All right, he's stuffing the ballots. Let's move on.
It's not valid anymore.
All right, what playoff? Hang on, I'll reset this because it took some. All right, stop the voting. What
all
Stop
bids
the
in.
count. Stop the count.
what playoff seed will SDSU get?
Oh, and we all know it's a 3, right? I mean,
One,
I'm
two,
We got to
three,
read out the
four.
results. We have people who listen on podcast form here. We
Oh,
just
we will now. So the results of the last one are pretty overwhelmingly B team. Second place is Scare Money, Don't Make Money. And then A team and Borg were tied for third place, I think.
a lot of people think we're going to get the 2 seed.
There's a lot of 2 votes.
That would take some
is
losses
bold.
that are
You gotta be
unpredictable.
Ray and Deb
Uh,
Gronowski both said 3 seed,
Darren Amex says 6. What?
which
oh,
I think is unseeded.
Yeah. What are you on crack, bud? Come on now.
unseated. Where's the faith?
Brian Thompson
know why
thinks
it's not
MSU is
telling
going to
me.
lose a game. If that happens, then
Hmm.
there's going to be some argument for us to
So-
Plausible.
sure.
Most people think 2, the rest of them think 3, and then a few think 4.
It even says the percents in there if you wanted to read it out. It's 61%
Okay.
for number 2, 34% for 3, and 5% for 4.
There you go.
0% for 1.
I don't know. Anyway. All
I'm
right.
not sure how
Uh,
the chaos to get the 1 seed would be just
Crazy. That'd be
God,
fun
it'd be a
though.
fun 3 weeks. Oh my God.
It'd
Just
be fun to watch.
we'd
And
be the
yes, we would
only
have to
team
drop
that did
2.
lose.
All right. Pause the voting.
All bids in.
This is a word cloud. So type in who is on your SDSU football Mount Rushmore. Darren, 2 is not a good answer here.
Is it 1 per answer? So you got person
Type in,
1,
like,
then
just type-
person 2, second comment, or 3 people on 1 comment?
just comment all. Yeah. So Aaron's got it. She typed in Zenner. Good job, Aaron.
1 person per comment. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Stig, Vinatieri,
Zenner.
McKinley.
Zenner.
9 is not a good answer.
Zenner, Venetary.
It's the same kicker, Brian.
Marvin.
Oh. Sorry.
Got a lot of
Jimmy.
Zenners.
This segment, watching words with the B team.
Hey, this one hasn't gone so well. Usually word clouds work better than this.
This is a good
Why does
test
Zenner
segment.
show up in 4 different things with the same spelling?
I don't know. Yeah, usually it combines it for you.
See, I was hoping on having slightly different spellings on some of the last names where people made mistakes and seeing those show up all together. But this is good
I'm
too.
not
I do like
voting,
the same
Brendan.
spelling showing up a bunch. Marky Mark. Why would you do that?
Marky Mark and the Funky Mark.
All right.
All right.
We'll move on here. Next question. Who do you hate more? NDSU
In football.
or USD? In football. This is a football podcast. The voting for your favorite player has ceased. Who do you hate more?
The kicker, he says.
Both.
Not everybody gets that, but we do, Brian.
Whatever, however you feel like answering, Kenkel.
Both doesn't count.
God, you're such a nitpicky engineer.
What?
He said,
Not you,
voted-
Kenkel.
Oh. I didn't hear what he said.
Well,
He said hate or want to beat more.
I mean, it says hate. So if you have
Yeah, the
reading
question is hate.
comprehension, then you can answer your own question.
He is an engineer.
We are going to set the record for the number of comments in this one, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
We're just comment farming the hell out of this.
Homeless cows doesn't count.
Whoa! It switched. What's happening? It was my understanding there would be no math. That's really fitting with that profile picture.
All right. So we got NDSU at 65% and USD at 35%.
Your son's
Interesting.
trolling the hell out of you just saying homeless cows over and over.
I know. I got to figure out. Hey, which one of you two is commenting? Stop.
Parenting with Ben on the
Don't
B
stop.
team.
Don't stop. Yes, no, won't stop.
Anyway, who is SDSU football's biggest rivalry?
This should be easy, right?
Different question.
Oh, you should have told people this one was coming up. Now they're gonna be
like,
disappointed.
hey, Alex, how do you feel now about your
You
question?
you silly goose.
Oh yeah. Overwhelming NDSU.
Yeah, in case the mayor of Vermilion is watching, there you go, bud.
See?
97% NDSU.
So there's our
There it
biggest
is.
rival, and there's who you hate to lose to the most, and they're opposite on this poll. Yeah, I don't. Who voted USD? Really, no one. Crazy. I don't even see USD.
All right.
Somebody must have.
And this last one's for fun. Apparently, it's going to pick a winner out of everybody that commented, even though we don't have anything to give away.
Crisp high five from me.
Come down to the
I just-
tailgate and win
I
a crisp
had
high
to-
five.
I had to do it just to see who would win. Mardell Menke, you're the winner. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mardell. So we'll use this in the future for giveaways and stuff. But
Yeah.
for now, I fully expect you, Mardell, to stop by the tailgate for the Southern Illinois game and demand a crisp high five.
I'll even give you a pudding shot.
Also, if you want to have some fun at a drive-through window, add a crisp high five to your order and then demand it when you get to the window and see the look on the fast food worker's face. It's pretty great.
That also could be arranged, Darren Amick. Free beer.
Free beer, perhaps. Perhaps.
Well, that was
Even
fun.
a Bud Light with a bunny on it, maybe.
Thanks for entertaining me.
And that segment was brought to you by Northwestern Mutual of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Chris Schenkel. Even though he
You're
didn't
gonna
know
have
he
to
was
be
signing up for that, he brought you the Watching Bar Graphs with Ben. Northwestern.
And word jobs that don't work.
No, I'm just kidding. But our segment sponsor is Northwestern Mutual of Sioux Falls. Thanks to Chris Schenkel and the gang for sponsoring our segment here on the B team. They are a big part of financial planning. If you don't have anything planned out for your financial future, go talk to them. It's free. It really is. They're not gonna hit you at the end as you walk out the door. By the way, we need $100. They're gonna just show up and they'll give you a crisp high five. No, but they probably would if you asked for it. But they'll take a load off your mind getting your ducks in a row, probably help you out with how you set your 401k if you want to do a Roth IRA or not, and all those sorts of things, plus life insurance for if you do happen to pass away. They also happen to be a huge part of spearheading the Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation fundraiser that we've been doing. Chad's been killing it with the pudding shots, and Mark is killing it in the standings now, surging into first place, not with no small part to the efforts of Jim Poppin, who is an ultra stud. The Lemon Top Challenge has been going fantastically for him and everything there. We've got 42 posts credited to his name for the Lemon Top Challenge, which is actually behind the Joker from Southern Illinois. I mean, Chris Presto from Southern Illinois, so we can pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, but we are only $352 away from getting a bonus $1,000 added by the Northwestern Mutual Foundation to Mark's campaign and really extending that lead. Second place has $3,400. Mark has $4,648. It's a good spot to be at so far, but we want to beat last year's numbers, so we're going to keep pushing. Thank you to Chris Schenkel for bringing that along for us and making that a thing and making Mark our representative for it. No one I think that I can think of that deserves to be the face of the Jacks in a competition like this than Mark, with everything he does with FCA and everything else. So yes, Northwestern Mutual Sioux Falls, and killing it so far in the Alex's Lemonade Stand. The total amount raised so far is $16,747. Obviously, we want to bump that way up. Got to $50,000 last year. Let's see if we can get well into six figures. So that's what we're shooting for. And I've got to check because I do need to check to see if we got to our $10, $11 donations for Mark. We're getting close. And so I will match all those donations for the first 10. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 7. Oh yeah, we're there. We're there. We got $77 in the 1/11th challenge from the Murray State game. I'm pretty sure that is Jim putting me over the top. So I'm gonna have to throw my cash into Kitty for that. So we jump up over that $5,000 mark. So that should get us down to $200 and some dollars to get over that $5,000 mark. So that's awesome.
Perfect.
But don't let my 10 donations towards that stop you.
With that, should we go over the Missouri Valley standings?
Sure.
And the top 25 that doesn't matter?
I'm working on it. There
Ta-da.
Missouri Valley standings. We have NDSU sitting at the top at 6-0 in the conference. Missouri State at 5-0, still trying to win the Missouri Valley Conference in their last year in it. And that's the only thing they got to play for this year because they're not eligible for the playoffs. But they do have a couple of games, couple tough games left on the schedule. And you got SDSU and USD sitting at 4-1. Illinois State and Indiana State at 3-2. UND at 2-3. Youngstown State 2-4. And then UNI, Southern Illinois, and Murray State all winless in conference. What?
It is great. We've only got 3 weeks left in the regular season.
Should we talk about UND's crazy loss?
I mean, that's got to be part of it, right?
Yeah,
got to be part of the conversation about them.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I guess we can touch on it now. I mean, we'll preview that game in a little bit, but UND losing to Indiana State. Obviously, the narrative is that UND just plays awful away from home, which
that's not a narrative. That's a fact.
I mean, it is, but that's what
scientific fact.
I mean, that's what gets brought up all the time. But I don't understand. They have to have the worst home and away splits of any college football team.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
In the past,
splits are,
I don't know, 3 to 5 years.
I would love to see how those rankings stacked up across the country. That's a huge.
Zim tweeted out.
No, I retweeted. A UND fan had tweeted it. Since 2014, UND is 47-12 at home and 19-24 on the road. Since 2019, they're 29-3 at home. And those numbers alone. If you told me any team from the Missouri Valley Conference only had 3 losses at home in 5 years, I would tell you that's a regular contender conference championship, top 6 seed in the playoffs every year. However, their road record is 7-24, and their conference record from 2020 through now is 4-13 on the road and 16-2 at home.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It's absurd. It's just absurd. I mean, yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how you do that.
It's the same players. It's got to come down to not having the guys ready. I mean, right? I mean, what else could it be?
I don't know. I mean, it's a coaching. We mentioned it on the Scare Money Don't Make Money, but Bubba's seat has to be getting hot up there. You can beat NDSU, but man, if you just cannot win away from home, then it doesn't matter if you beat NDSU. I mean, what are you playing for? And it was one time. They go in and get whooped again this year. So, that only carries you so long.
Let's be honest. That is something of a mentality of the interstate universities that are in with the Dakota states.
The little brothers.
That is the little brothers mentality. Is as long as we win that game, everything's all right. That tends to be the MO. I mean, we've seen it when they hit the Hail Mary. I mean, in our state as well. It just so happened it's turned out well for them now, but yeah, but on the flip side, yeah, they've beaten NDSU at home. They beat Montana at home this year, who don't look now, but Montana has been coming back just like last year. They're coming back up the standings here, looking like a legit team. So it's not a slouch loss. I mean, I don't get it, but
it's wild.
Like the Hack City guys brought up, it should have been a red flag when Murray State put up 35 points on them.
Yeah,
and then you see NDSU, SDSU allowed 6, USD allowed 0. That should have been a warning sign.
Yeah,
that all was not right.
And obviously, the transitive property doesn't work, especially when you're talking about UND and their home and away splits.
Although they've lost every road game this year.
That was at home. They gave up 35 to Murray State at home. I mean, granted, they scored 72, but still. Right. Darren, I don't know what's going on at the Alerus Center. I have no idea how they're
an angle I never considered.
How they're so
a
good
lot
there.
of home cooking. I'd have to be super a lot.
NDSU fans love to say this, that, well, it was our off year last year. Yeah, it was close the last time you were there as well. And I think that you won the national title that year. So it's not like NDSU just walks in and blows them out all the time in the Alerus. It has been a close game the last couple times. If you go back last 2, it was a close game 2 times ago, and then they lost the last time. It's just got to be something about that building that's weird. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, but does that mean that they're not really that good and it's just a weird building and other teams have a hard time playing there?
I don't know. And, the weird thing is, too, because I was thinking about this when we played them and, or this week and thinking about the last times we played them. The last couple times we've played there, Zach sacrifice one fan per home game to guarantee the win. That's the only answer. Especially if they win this weekend. Sacrifice. They
sacrifice a tree around Grand Forks. That's why
they sacrifice one Fighting Sioux logo per home game.
They should consider doing that for away games too, if that's what's doing it for them.
Right. Maybe, I mean, if it's effective, maybe give it a whirl. But let's say the last 2 games we played up there. Well, 2. We've only played twice since Mark started.
Correct.
Both games we started off hot and jumped ahead of them, just like Montana did. And then they had big comebacks. We held off a comeback the last time up there. And then they came back and beat us the second time because I remember we were all pissed off because we fell in love with the passing game instead of running the ball up there. And then we got kind of shut down offensively.
Well, 2 years ago, we did not start hot.
Nope.
We were down 14
I
to
thought
0.
we got to a lead on them. No,
we were
crazy?
down 14 to 0.
Oh, I guess I'm crazy. Take it all back. None of it matters.
And then Gale's got the pick six.
We're gonna pretend that it didn't happen.
Yeah, Seth has it right.
Yeah, I was trying to get to it, but too many comments rolled in. Yeah,
fine, whatever. I have the memory of a goldfish, so that's what I'm gonna blame.
I remember because I was watching that game at a wedding out in the country, and we were down 14 to 0, and then my feed went out, and I'm like, "Oh God, this is not good."
Yeah, we scored 21 in the third quarter.
That was that same game that Tucker had just came back to, right? And drug those guys into the end zone.
Yeah. Bach got hurt, I think, in that game.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I do remember some things. Woo! To start.
But one guy that did torch us in that game is Bo Belquist. They still have him.
Jeez, dude's played forever.
And he's really, really good. And that's the thing. I mean, number one, UND is good in the Alerus Center for some reason. Number two, as bad as they've been this year and as weird of games as they've lost, they still have dudes on their team. And their
running back's pretty good too.
They have really good running backs. You can't go into this game and think, well, they're not playing well. I think we're gonna, win pretty easily because, we have a slow start. You have a couple turnovers that are uncharacteristic, and it becomes a dogfight. Especially, like I said, when they have the talent that they do. We definitely got to be on our game. And it was really nice to rest our starters for the most, if not all, the second half of the Murray State game because coming off the games against NDSU and USD, it was really, really nice to have that. And then going into this UND game, which could be a dogfight. Hopefully they're prepared for that. We forgot to do the top 25.
No, we didn't. I just pulled it down for a second.
Oh, well, I guess you were showing it, but we didn't talk about it. NDSU's up top. Montana State at 2, SDSU at 3, UC Davis at 4, and then USD at 5.
And that's it.
And then that might be it because UND, I think, did they drop all the way out of the top 25?
They had to. No, Illinois State
still hanging out at 18. And UND, I think they dropped all the way down to 21. So, yes, it's kind of interesting as far as the playoffs look. Illinois State still has a pretty good look at the playoffs. UND's got some work to do now. They're 5-4, and they play SDSU this week and USD the following week, and then Illinois State the following week. So they are on life support. And I guess that makes it another scary proposition is, we've seen teams in the past when they're backed into a corner, particularly Northern Iowa, when they need to win a game to make the playoffs, they come out and play better than they normally do. And so that's where UND is at right now. And so we got to be ready for them. That's for sure.
Well, they should know their season's over because they have to go on the road for the last game.
Yeah, true. Seth Meyer made that joke earlier. He said Murray State plays UND at home next year. That'll be a nice win for Murray State. Nice conference win.
First conference win? Question mark.
Possibly.
They won one last year, didn't they?
They won one last year, didn't they? Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they squeaked one out.
And then, as far as the playoffs go, UND, like I said, is on life support. Illinois State's at 6-3. They have UNI, Indiana State, and UND left. So it'll be Illinois State's, I think, looking pretty good to make the playoffs. But, I mean, unless UND goes on a tear here, we probably are looking at only 4 teams from the Valley in the playoffs.
Good.
Granted, 3 of them might be in the top 4 seeds, but
right.
It's Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm all for it because that means I hate when it's packed with Valley teams because that means you're playing one of them.
Oh yeah, you get rematches. Yeah.
You know what? I make it a rule every year. Only 3 Valley teams get in. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
You're capped out or 3 or 4 per conference. That's it. I'm down with that. No, in all seriousness, the Valley's not good enough. I mean, the fact Illinois State squeaked by Murray. Like squeaked by Murray.
What was the score of that game? I don't even remember.
I'm pulling it up right
40
now.
to 32.
Yeah.
And they just squeaked by Youngstown State.
Yeah. Like
But
they're
still the
gonna
16th best team in the country.
They don't have a good resume.
Yeah.
Really.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's the FCS right now. Is that once you start looking at teams, past 12, it gets pretty
Probably
slim
the
pickings.
Trees.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to take this moment to segue. I listened to Sam Herder's pod, which if you're interested on the inner workings of the committee and potential visit sites and Frisco remodel and all that sort of stuff, he's got an interview with Matt Larson, who happens to be the committee chair this year, as well as a NCAA rep. And he asked them about our favorite person's poll that we love to make fun of that poll. Besides, Craig Haley's poll, he asked him about not using the stats poll anymore. And the committee member sounded as frustrated, if not more frustrated, than the rest of us are with that poll, where there's no accountability for a lot of the voters unless you're a really good voter like, Zach McKinnell and Jamie Williams and Sam Herder, and put their polls out there and show you who they voted for. That doesn't exist. And I think his paraphrase a little bit here, but he said there was no transparency. You didn't know who was voting in the poll, who they were voting for, when they were voting, if they were voting. And that didn't sit right with us, so they didn't. The other interesting thing to me, which Sam informed me when I mentioned it on Twitter, that this was actually confirmed last year. The committee has their own top 25 that they do. If you listen through, they don't outright say we have our own top 25, but I believe I remember Matt Larson saying something to the effect of one of their meetings is a top 25 meeting where they talk about that. So that's kind of how the impression I get, that's where they're getting their ranked wins and your resume from, which begs the question, which Sam threw right at him. Hey, where's your transparency then? But you want to talk about transparency for the polls. Hey, how about you throw what you're using out there then for these ranked wins and stuff like that? Because we know KPI is dog shit, and they address that in there, but it's terrible. So that was really interesting inside baseball, so to speak, podcast to listen to, and I really enjoyed him saying why they didn't use the stats poll. So, and I do feel bad for guys like Zach McKinnell and Sam Herder and Jamie Williams, who put a ton of effort into that. And I feel like they unfairly get lumped into that when we talk about our frustrations with the stats poll, even though they share their frustrations. I just want to be clear, we're not ragging on those guys. You guys do a phenomenal job. Really appreciate the work you guys do. Just as a whole, it's not that hard to post a spreadsheet with everybody's votes. Red Shirt Sports Poll does it all the time.
Better since they sent us to Fargo year after year after year.
Yeah, the committee has. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you know what helps with that?
Yeah.
Winning your games.
People complain. That too. Not dropping clunkers you shouldn't.
And that's where these Kevin Marshall, I love you, dude, but that's my frustration with these SoCon guys. Well, we always get sent to people bias. Don't lose the 3-win interconference games. Stop it. That's your fault. Or, we didn't make it into the play. And this is going to come off as really arrogant, but God, don't drop a game to a 500 program then. If you want to get in the playoffs, don't do that. Like if you just missed the playoffs, but you also lost to a bad team, you could have stopped that from happening.
Yeah, you only have yourself to blame at that point.
I mean, if you're just missing out on a 24-team playoff, which I think is good enough, is not, I don't think it's too big. I think it's kind of the perfect size. I really enjoyed the 24-team playoff. But if you don't make a 24-team playoff, you weren't a playoff team. If you're on the bubble and don't make it, you probably you weren't some uber deserving team. Were you uber deserving to be 21 through 24? Sure, but if you missed out on that, there was a lot of things within your control that you let happen that made it so you missed the playoff.
That's a good
like
question.
I said
Glenda.
to the Youngstown State guys before. Hey, good point, Glenda. All right, I'm done.
I'm sorry, I didn't
done.
see her.
Anyways.
I should have started it.
I was
sooner.
jabbering
That's
for a
on
long
me.
time. There wasn't.
You mentioned the KPI, which they're using, and it's terrible. But the one reason I do like it, it may
we get to see Drake in the top 4 where they belong.
It may convince. So it's got like 2 Ivy League teams in the top 3 of the KPI.
Yeah.
It may convince their presidents, to be like, see, look, we're in the top 3 of the FCS. We should be in the playoffs.
Well, did I not say in like our preview episode, one of the wildest thing I could see happening is the Ivy League for no reason at all decides they want to be a part of the playoffs, and how wild that would be. And I don't think it's going to happen. And I think it was either Borg or Scared Money Don't Make Money, we kind of laid out that that's not going to happen this year. But that would be, it's in play suddenly, which
feels
is
like it's
hilarious.
getting closer and closer to being a reality, doesn't it?
It does, but it also feels like the split thing where it's been talked about for decades and just never has happened. Like, I'm at the point where, all right, it'll be really cool if it happens and I'll love it, but I'm never going to believe it's actually happening until it happens.
Right.
That's fair.
All right. Well, let's move on from that. Let's talk about the UND game a little more. What are you guys looking to see in this one?
Tackling of Bo Belquist. He's not as shifty as that little cat, that dude from Murray State was. That kid was quick, shifty, and we struggled. Justice Hill. That kid was a problem. But Belquist is capable of being that shifty if he wants to be, and that is something that concerns me. But if you hold Belquist down and stop the run, which in my opinion, I know we never play that game, but put Dallas Beanham on him and then shut the run down, and that is the key to stifling them, in my opinion. And I think that's been kind of proven throughout the year. They do like to run the ball. They're very Valley-esque this year with that compared to maybe years past where, they ran the ball, but they also like to kind of pass the run. But yeah, give me Matt Ogroski. Hell yeah. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the Mafia. Yeah, I think that'll be important. And offensively, I think the biggest importance to me is if you get up on them, don't let off the gas. Don't let them feel like they can get back into it, and jump on them early, I think would be a big thing in this one. If you give them hope and give them fight, they're going to feel like they're in it all game long. And I do believe this game will be a dogfight just because we're in the giant grain bin, it is what it is. But boy, it would be nice to jump on them right away, score a couple quick touchdowns, and then just don't let off on the gas. Don't sit there and we've got 2 touchdown lead. We're going to play to not make turnovers. Go to play to win and put up more points and bury them, and don't let them come back, because they can come back. We saw them do it to Montana, and that's not a slouch program by any means. So,
right.
Well, I couldn't disagree less with Brendan's thought on.
I hate when you say that. God, you're the worst. You're the
I said that just to get under your skin.
I knew you. I listened to that episode, and I knew you had said it, and I knew it was coming, and I still had to stop and think about it for a second because that phrase sucks. God, I hate you.
It's the worst phrase ever.
It's the worst
and I did it on
ever.
purpose both times. You're welcome. Anyway, so Well, I
Easy,
do agree
Satan.
with Brendan on tackling needs to improve because it did not look good last game. I think we really need to get some short passes going early on, get some chunk yardage, 5-7 yard deals. Our guys got to get open so Mark can get them the ball there. I think that's key and something that would be good to establish. And I think we can with our offense against this defense. So that's what I'd like to see since you asked.
Yeah, Scott says, considering how conservative we played when leading this year, this could end up in a dogfight late. Hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the offense have a lot of success early and then step on a throat. Don't let them hang around. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned against Montana, they came way back. Granted, they did that with a bunch of rushing, and I don't see our defense giving up that many rushing yards. They do have some good running backs, so Isaiah Smith, he's averaging 7.3 yards a carry, which is damn good. And then Gavin Zebarth as well. He's been there for a while. He's averaging 3.9, and Sawyer Seidel is averaging 5. They all carry the ball quite a bit. So they definitely have the horses in the backfield. However, I do see, our defense just is so good against the run. And, especially we're getting some more guys healthy on the defensive line, and I don't see that being an issue for us. So I think it's just limiting the explosive plays. Somebody mentioned, we can't let them have an explosive special teams play. That's something they've thrived on. They thrived on against NDSU last year when they beat them. And we've had great coverage this year. Hopefully we see that continue. Hopefully we see our special teams get cleaned up a little bit. I'd like to see a clean special teams game, especially after a couple of rough ones.
The kick return is not nearly as lethal if we have miscommunications and let it bounce on the ground.
Right.
Truth.
And the punt returns are not very effective if we catch the ball within the 5-yard line.
As a fair catch.
As a fair catch, yes. That just can't happen. I mean, it puts the offense in such a bad position when you gain – all you have to do is not catch the ball, and you gain 15 to 20 yards when it's a touchback. It's a very easy to do. I know that it gets weird when the ball's up in the air and you don't know where you're at in the field, but you can know where you start, and if you backpedal, that means you're not catching it. I'm sure they're working on that, though. I mean, this is just us harping on small things that it's that championship level play thing, right? We expect big things, and we expect championship level play. In the grand scheme of things, they're very small, but it's a good problem to have when we only have really small things to complain about. But we have to mention them.
Like you said, it's easy for us to say, hey, if it's over your head, let it go. What is the old adage? Put your feet at the 10, and if it goes over your head, don't get it. But I think it's a little more complex in college. Especially if you look back, one of the biggest moments in one of the biggest games was in 2007 when I think it was Paul Onison returned that one that was inside the 10 and housed that punt. You got somebody as dangerous as Dallas or Tucker Large back there.
All right. Once every 17 years, I'm willing to forego that and take the touchbacks.
Well, I'm just saying I got a feeling that the coaching is slightly more complicated than the way we would think of it. Just because,
I know it is.
But I'm with you. We got to stop. You got to stop fair catching the ball at the 3. If you're not going to catch it and take it, then leave it and let it bounce into the end zone. For sure. But there's a lot on the special team side of things. It's a tough place to play. If you can take the wind out of their sails, it's great. But like when Chad and I were up there that was COVID season, wasn't it? You and I were both up there.
That was the first year that Mark played up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was COVID season. But even with a COVID crowd in there, they were dead. And I got a feel that it's going to be a similar feel that time. You could tell that crowd did not believe they were going to win that game when we went up there. There was no hope in that crowd from the kickoff. They just nothing. But then we let them score, and they didn't get loud until it was close, and all of a sudden it was like, oh boy, yeah. And Daryl says, keep in mind, Bubba likes the trick plays, and we don't know how hot his seat actually is, but he's for sure going to be coaching like their season's on the line, because it is. They're going to have to win one of these next two games between us or USD. They have to win. And boy, that's one way to turn around all the negative talk about your program, is if you beat a top 5 team. So they'll be throwing the kitchen sink at us, I'm sure.
Wouldn't that be wild though? If they lose every away game, but they beat SDSU and USD at home, and they go
right.
I don't see it happening, but if they go completely undefeated at home and lose every game away and make the playoffs, and 2 of those home wins are against 2 of the top 4 teams in the country, but no, it's I don't see it happening. I think that I think UND will score some points. They'll have an explosive player too, but I don't see them scoring more than 17, and I don't see us scoring less than 31. So that gives you an idea of what kind of spread you think we'll win. I think we'll at least 2-score win.
Well, their defense has been their problem.
Yeah. They have been giving up a lot of points, even at home.
And one could argue our defense is our strength, so that's
correct, sir.
Thankful for us.
Yes, I would say that we match up pretty well with this team. I think they like to run the ball, and our run defense is amazing, and with their defensive struggles, I think our offense can have some success here. So, yeah, I like our chances in this one.
I mean, if you didn't have the home and away factor for UND, and just looked at the matchup, I would say that this is a good matchup for us, because our strength is on their strength, and I do have a huge, massive amount of faith in our defense, and I have a lot more faith in our offense starting to get going here, especially after the Murray game, to get things ironed out a little bit. I really like that matchup, but the Alerus Center, man, it's just, and I know I've had NDSU fans say to me, "Oh, it's just NDSU, or UND, whatever. They're not very good this year." Yeah, if we were in Brookings, I'd be super confident in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's undeniable. They're for whatever reason, that place has voodoo magic in it, so I'm a little nervous.
Yep, I agree. Anything else on this one?
No, it's about Jim Poppin time, I think.
Perfect. Tune in Thursday night. We'll have Scared Money Don't Make Money. JIAI will be back, and I've got the Hack City Boys wanted a redo, and boy, do I have some redos for them. They'll have plenty to choose from. So
yes,
tune in for that. With that, as Jim says, as we always say, go big, go blue,